Eleonora, welcome to Cat on the Loose.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. I know how crazy busy you are. And before I get started, I have to say, I'm not a lesbian by any means. I don't like girls. But ever since the first time I saw you on your beautiful show, Selling the City, I've had the biggest girl crush on you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not a lesbian either, but I have heard that. It's fun. I look, traditionally have not had like a lot of incredible sort of women in my life, but since the show, that's really changed. And so I embrace it. But yeah, unfortunately, not there for me either.
Exactly. But I have to say, when I saw the show, I was like, okay, let me watch because I love real estate shows. I'm not in the real estate world, but I think it's fascinating. And I saw, I'm like, who is this chick? She's a force of nature. And outfits and the power and the work. I was like, oh my God, I want to talk to her. So first,
Well,
congratulations.
thank you. Well, you can see that the outfits are an everyday. Here I am, just sort of casual. It's a Friday.
Fabulous body, like
That
dream.
was for TV. But yeah, I mean, look, I say this often. I live with sort of a sense of pressure about time. And I always felt like I've one life to live. I want to live it feeling and looking my best. I remember people when I was younger, people being like, oh, I'm only going to get work done like after I've had kids and this. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to wait. I'd rather just do what I want to do now and feel my best now. So
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And you look stunning, by the way. So, a million questions, not a lot of time. Let's do this fast and furious. You are in arguably, but I think it's the toughest place in the world in terms of selling luxury real estate, crazy competitive. And you are at the very, very top of your career. What do you think helped you or made you get there? Do you like when you think about where you are, do you think there is one thing that was a big differential for you and pretty much almost everybody else?
um look, a lot of people would probably say, oh, like she's from New York. I don't know that that makes a difference. Some of the most successful agents in New York City are not from New York. Sure, there's a little bit of a learning curve that's prevented by the fact that like I walked these streets my whole life. But truthfully, I think I could sell real estate anywhere. And I don't have the expertise that I have about Manhattan. I don't necessarily have, in Brooklyn or the Bronx, things like that. I would say there is certainly the element of growing up here, though, where it's a global city in every sense of the world. I didn't grow up with one culture. People laugh at me when I'm like, oh, I went to a predominantly Asian high school, so I'm part Chinese. I really feel that when I say those things. I'm not crazy, but I do feel at one with all of the different cultures and people in New York. A lot of our buyers are international. I feel, I've sort of always felt connected to so many people, and even myself and my own identity is a mishmash of so many different regions and cultures. I really think, though, that for me, success at this level in New York comes down to, a work ethic that is in line with a very sort of old school mentality that if you do not work, one, you don't have a purpose. You live to work and work to live. Those things work together for me. Um, I don't, my desire to sort of like want more and do bigger does not mean I'm unhappy. It might mean I'm not satisfied, but I always want more. And, that's really what it is. Like I come from this mentality that if I am sleeping, others are working, and that doesn't sort of align for me. And I don't know that like people really feel that way anymore.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me because, I live in Beverly Hills and it's the same idea. The market here is insanely competitive. And I hear a lot of women here in New York. I actually have friends that live in New York and they're like, oh my God, this real estate business is so tough. And
Yeah.
they're really frustrated, especially after the TV shows, right? Because they watch on TV and they think they're going to reach that level of success really quickly.
Yeah, the TV, I agree. Like a lot of the criticism of the shows is that they put sort of an illusion out there of how easy it is. I certainly, it is TV. There's a sense of editing, but I think social media creates that same illusion. I think it sort of goes both ways. And look, sorry, hold on. I'm having a crisis with a client. He keeps calling. And so basically all I was going to say is that, you know, the shows have to edit things and they want to make it aspirational. So they're going to do the fun stuff. But yeah, they definitely, like, I would watch $1 Million Listing and I would see there was a guy on there that would always be like, boom. And then I do this and I put this together and boom. And I'm like, huh? That's so not real, like really for any business. I've never like done that and had a deal happen. So yeah.
Lots of work. And that's one interesting thing about your show for people that didn't watch. I love that. I mean, you're the center of the show. You have an entire team of women under you. And I love that because for the longest time, this was a male dominated market. Even when they started $1 Million Listing, at least the one here in Beverly Hills, it was all guys. And
same in New York.
Yeah. Crazy. So when I saw your show and you're like commanding the show, you have your own team. And I think the few guys on the show are kind of, even they are looking up to you and your success, right?
Yeah. I mean, I actually, the guys, I would say that there's definitely a difference in sort of the experience and level of expertise of some of us on the show versus others. There's a range of sort of years in the business and success. I've known the two guys on the show I've known for a long time. They have a lot of respect for me. They certainly see me eye to eye as I see them. We think all of us have been in the business for a very long time and have gone through sort of different journeys, whether it was being teams, partners, companies. And so there's I think a big respect specifically with me and the men that were on the show.
Yeah. So let me ask you about your team of women, because on the show, it's like, oh my God, a lot of cattiness, a lot of, I feel frenemy behavior. Like they're literally saying something behind your back. How do you deal with that? Because it's a lot of girls. In my experience as an entrepreneur, I have a really hard time working with big groups of women because of that, because I can't deal with the cattiness. And you are so chill and so nice to them, no matter what they did.
Yeah.
You're like very at the same time that you have to be a tough cookie because of what you do, but you were super nice and forgiving and understanding. How do you manage all that?
I get it. I've actually been there. I've been hurt by women. I've actually been hurt by these women. I don't want people to think that I'm stoic about it. They have hurt me. I've certainly allowed it to hurt me, but being hurt by something and acting on it are very different things. And so I can be hurt and I can cry and I can see people for who they are, but I'm certainly not going to let my emotions make me be reactive on them in any certain way. I think that like you then give people power when you allow them to sort of, one, change who you are, change your belief system, or act in a way that is, retaliatory in some capacity. I generally find that the people that talk badly about you have done a lot less in life. Okay. And that's like what it is I'm sorry, but like the people who take the time out to talk badly about me, it is not coming from someone I respect. It's not coming from my friend who's, the mayor of New York or the chairman of my company who I totally idolize. It's not coming from women that I've admired like J-Lo or, Hillary Clinton or Kim Kardashian. It is, or billionaires that I love like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. It is literally coming from people that I couldn't care less about. And so why would I ever give them that energy? And so I try to think about how I'm going to use my time, and it's certainly not used wisely when I am thinking about how I can underscore what they are saying. I mean, I cannot tell you how many things were said on the show that were not accurate, and I have the arsenal of all arsenals to dig back. I mean, the shit that I could say about all of them is beyond the scope. But the minute I go there, I become like them. And I really waste time that I should be focusing on making money, doing other deals, making myself better, and all of those things.
I love your attitude because I'm kind of the same. I think people that talk shit, especially women, I think it's heartbreaking when women talk shit about each other because the world is tough as it is. Just the fact that we're women, I think we have to prove ourselves even harder. But when I see women that are working with you and for you, and instead of being productive, they're saying something nasty about you when you're not in the room, it's something that they're frustrated with their own lives or maybe a little jealous of your success. I don't know, maybe a combination, right?
Maybe, but I don't really need to spend time figuring it out. It's not my job.
So you mentioned you have a fantastic relationship with the big boss, right?
Yeah.
Douglas Elliman. You created a team. You're the top salesperson there. I think they said on the show you sold like a $75 million property last year, which was a record in New York, correct?
It was a record on a per square foot basis. It was a record for the year. That year was the highest sale, but the year after there was a bigger sale. There was one for 117 million. So, and no, there was one once for 240. You know, there are people love that deal because it's a big number and it's exciting, but it's just another deal. You know, I don't think about it. I'm not worried about being a one-hit wonder. There are plenty of other deals that are more meaningful to me, that are more exciting, that are, smaller or different. And I've broken records in other areas. So no, I mean, there's so many exciting deals out there. The big number is fun, but it's not everything.
Well, it's amazing your attitude towards it, because you deserve to be super proud of your success. But I have to ask you, when her name is Taylor, right? The blonde the team. She goes behind your back to the big, I forgot what's his name. I forgot.
Howard, our chairman. Yeah.
Howard. He's the chairman of the company. To me, if somebody did that to me, that would be the end of our relationship, right? Because she did something so huge behind my back. When I saw the scene you had with her, you are so kind. And you're like, oh, I have your back. I don't want you to go through this. Right. I was like, wow, she's being not just the bigger person. That's like insane amounts of forgiveness and kindness. How, I mean,
I was obviously upset. Look, I was upset. I was upset because, one, it's embarrassing. I believe that, like, when you go to your chairman for favors, there should be a few, and they should be big ones, or for an ask. I think this is very important business advice for anyone. When you go to your boss, it should be limited a few times a year. You should be able to back it up. And like, I would much rather ask for the opportunity to be like on a new development, for example, than to borrow a couple $1,000s. Like, there are other ways to do that. And certainly in your life, and when you need to borrow money or you have a cash flow problem, as she was calling it, I think that you should look at so many other people in your circle and close friends before you bring it into the workplace. But it was something that happened. It was a very real moment that I had to deal with. That was caught on camera. It was not intentionally meant to be. I didn't want this to be a storyline on camera, but it was a real phone call that I got when I was shooting that scene with Steve, and I had no way around it. And look, ultimately, I kind of felt like I had to give her the money. I kind of felt like I couldn't really say no.
Why didn't you kiss? So why didn't you?
I don't know, because if she is really struggling, I mean, she was a high performer. She was a good agent on the team. And that's even more why I was surprised, but it put me in a very bad position, because truthfully, like, I'm not here to give these women financial advice or tell them how to spend their money. But it is odd for me that they would say, I had a lot of them be like, I don't even have money, for gas to come into the city for meetings, but then I see you at very expensive restaurants. So again, none of this is like within the purview or my scope as their team leader. I can't tell you how to spend your money or what to do with it. I can only look at what I'm receiving from you. And if you're not coming to meetings, you're not, everyone would like to use whatever life circumstance they have for as an excuse, whether it's fertility issues, having a child, an unforeseen medical expense, your husband lost his job. Like, I've heard it all, but like, I have them too. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is like, we all have our shit. So like,
exactly.
And I've never used it. I've never once gone and asked for money or an advance or, and an advance, there are commission companies that give you an advance with an interest, a penalty that you can do. And I've been there. I've been broke. Like, I don't understand how people can't realize that they have to support themselves. Like, you can't just go and ask people or expect that people will like save you and hand you a check every time or take you out to dinner or pay for your car rides. But that is what these women came to expect from me.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said that because you're very open about your personal struggles on the show. Because like they're making all this excuse, yeah, the husband doesn't work, and I want to have kids, and I was like, how the hell is any of your business? Because you've been through the same and more, and you're a single woman like me.
Right, but I don't need to compare whether you have a kid, I have a son, you know what I mean? But I don't understand. Everyone has their own struggles. My parents never owned a home, never went to college. Like I have to help who I'm not telling you who I'm supporting or paying for.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not relevant to the workplace. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So what would it take for you to, what's the breaking point to work with you? Does it a lot of
I hit a breaking point. The breaking point is like, look, there's one thing that I do, which is I show up every single day, regardless of the level of success. I have someone that's worked with me on an administrative level that is paid extraordinarily well. They show up every day. I show up for them. I work on their schedule. I go to the gym every day. I stop by the office every day. I answer my clients every day. I go out at night to meet more clients. I support them at their events. I really do feel that I do it all. If at the bare minimum, my team can't show up for meetings, because they have, whether it's a chiropractor or Pilates or, I've heard every excuse in the book, or again, medical or cold or childcare. Again, I don't need to have to decipher every single one. It just came to a point where if the team shows up half of the time or less than half of the time, then it's a breaking point. At the year and a half mark, I sort of did an evaluation on it financially. And that's it. You just sort of financially look at it and you see how much, in terms of leads you give them, and then how much business they generate themselves. And does it pay off? Does it even cover your general expenses? And that's how you make an assessment about people. It's as stoic as that. It's not personal. It's not about going behind my back or anything that happened on the show or was said on social media. It really just comes down to the business and is it working or not?
Yeah, so let's talk about Jade really quickly. What's up with her? Because she wasn't on your team. She's on the show. And she claims, like, in the beginning, a few episodes, she's like, oh, I love Eleonora. I'm grateful. I thought she was the biggest frenemy in the world. Talking trash behind your back, like, the minute you get out of the table.
Yeah.
What's up with her? What happened? Like,
I literally cannot answer for her. She says that this was her truth. She spoke her truth on the show. And so I guess if that is her truth, the world sees who she is. I'm not quite sure. She was someone that, we were friendly and then we were not. And I was pretty good. This was not like a friend that I missed or wanted in my life. To be completely frank, she wasn't, in my opinion, the 2 times that we had tried a friendship, wasn't a particularly good friend. But when the show came up for me and they said, find us other women who are crushing it in real estate, I thought, you know what, there is this girl, Jade, in new development who does really well. And even though we haven't gotten along historically, like there's no way that I can have a conversation about women who are doing well in real estate and not have her in that conversation. So I wanted to bring her to the show. And, through that experience, we reconciled and we were fine. I didn't think, there was no bad, maybe her expectation was that we would be more like partners on the show, like Brett and Jason or something. But our businesses are completely different. They're also incomparable. I'm not sure. I honestly, I watched it like everyone else and saw her reaction and was completely shocked. But you can see, I say I've known her a long time. I say that it was complicated, but I never say she's my best friend or, I'm pretty careful about the language that I use.
Well, you're spilling the tea that you put her on the show. And I'm thinking here now in my head, oh my goodness. If anything, she should have been grateful and kind. I can't imagine somebody doing that for you and you treated the person like that. This cattiness really bothers me when women do that to each other. And it's amazing to me that like you don't let it affect you as much.
I mean, look, I'm not made of steel. I'm certainly, it really hurt me. But again, I really have to think about who's saying it. Is it someone that I really respect? Am I receiving criticism from someone that I respect and admire and want to emulate and, or not?
Yeah.
So that's all. Yeah.
So are you guys doing season 2? Is it coming back?
I don't know. At this point, like they don't say anything. They're very tight-lipped. It's been a few months, so I'm not so confident in it. But I would love to. If the opportunity presented itself, I'd love to come back. I'd love for there to be some changes if we came back. Who knows?
I hope it does because it's fantastic. Let me ask about the dating scene in New York because I actually everybody here, it's even around the magazines. I don't know if you follow. They're like, oh, LA is the shittiest place in the world to date, and nobody wants anything serious. La 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 la. And then I have girlfriends in New York. They're like, it's impossible to find a good relationship in New York. And how do you feel about it? How is the dating scene?
I think New York is actually pretty hard. I don't know about it. Actually, I find LA pretty good. LA, I get there and everyone's like, wow, you're so smart. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, cool. I'll take it. I think
I like the New York chicks here.
I don't know. I'm not look, I'm not actively dating or looking. I just sort of live my life and see what opportunities present themselves. So I don't know. I don't know what it's like, if you're actively on the hunt for a boyfriend or for marriage. That's not me. But I don't know. There's nice restaurants to go on dates to. But yeah, the circle, I guess, is pretty small.
So you're not on dating apps? No guy would find you on any dating app? Not even Raya? Nothing?
I mean, I was on Raya when I first wanted to re-enter the dating world. I joined Raya in 2018. Now it's been 6 years. But so I might still have a profile, but no, I'm not. I don't know. Actually, it's deactivated, I guess. I have no idea, but no, I don't use it.
Okay, so you're out and about at an event or restaurant, something. Do guys come and approach you, or do you feel, because that's my opinion, okay? Tell me if you agree. I think most men are super intimidated when it comes to powerful, successful women with strong personalities. Is that the case with you, or do you get approached?
I have heard this theory for many, many years that men are intimidated. I call bullshit. I don't think men are that intimidated. Men are way more able to handle rejection than others. No, men don't usually come up and hit on me. I mean, I guess some do, but not necessarily anyone that I've ever been interested in. And no, I don't know about this whole theory that men are intimidated. I think maybe men look at their lives and ultimately want someone who is maybe softer or stay at home or not so career oriented. But I don't know if I buy the theory about being intimidated. I think men know how to shoot their shot.
I think in the beginning they say, oh yeah, no, I'm super supportive of your career, everything you do. And then as they go, unless it's a guy as powerful or more powerful than you are, I think a lot of them, if they are not at the level of success that you are, they chicken out a little bit. I don't know my experience. So what kind of guy would you date? Would you, go on a date with?
I have no idea. I had one guy ask me on a date since the show came out. We had a very nice, fun date. We ended up just sort of staying friends, I guess. I'm trying to think who else, what kind of guy. I have no idea. Probably, like I've said, I like guys who are very entrepreneurial, have their own job, work for themselves, own their own company. Not necessarily, I don't know if I could be with someone who's like, oh my, I got my boss's calling. I'm sort of the boss. I'd like to be with someone else who's sort of in control of their own day and destiny. That's really, I would say, I don't know, stronger characters. I'm not really into sidekicks. I'm more into main character energy.
Yeah, so
yeah, I guess.
It's successful, at least as successful as you, right?
If you're talking about money, the answer is no. Just sort of good at what they do. Someone, if they care about what they do and they're the best at it, then that means a lot to me. And not all success is measured monetarily.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Now, you said the phrase, I think it was the first episode of the show, or at the very beginning, that stuck in my head. And I don't think I can quote exactly the phrase you said, but it was something about when you were becoming more and more successful. A lot of people ask, who's paying for it? Is there a guy behind it? Who helped you? And then you end up and you say, no, it's all my work. It's everything that I do. And I agree because I think it happens to me all the time as well. So many women, when they become crazy successful, everybody assumes that there's a guy behind them helping them.
Right.
You are self-made for people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if that was really the point of that. Certainly, I think that is the case. There's certainly the accusations that they have sort of been or slept with someone to get to where they are, or that they have a support system, or they were born wealthy with whatever. But it was more the point that, when they realize that none of those factors are true, then there start to be character assassinations. And, where it's like, this is the number one thing I hate when women say about each other: crazy, psycho, mental health issues. Like, are you a fucking doctor? No. So shut the fuck up and go back to this shit would never fly. These therapy words for me, my family, immigrants around the world. Come on. It's laughable. But I do think too oftentimes this is used to describe other women, and it's really sad. And just because I have an opinion and, have a reaction, can express emotion, does not mean that I don't have control over those things.
Oh my God. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let's talk about the fashions, because I think that's one of the number one things people notice at the show, because you look like you kill it every day, like one more spectacular, super high fashion outfit after the other. Do you dress like that, like on your everyday life, or did you?
Yeah, I do. I dress. I mean, when I go out at night, I do dress like that. I love to put looks together. I care about what I wear, how I look. I dress for my body. But no, during the day, I don't. I'm usually pretty comfortable during the day. I'm going to the gym. I'm at the office. When I'm with clients, I'm usually just wearing sort of maybe what you saw me wearing on the show, but with sneakers instead of heels. But yeah, that would be sort of how I would dress up for any sort of night out or event or special meeting. Absolutely.
How about when you're showing apartments? Do you kind of dress like that? Like when you guys were doing?
I would say a little bit of a toned down version of that. But yeah, if I'm actively showing, I look good. Today I'm not. Like today I'm just at the office, so
Oh my God, because your outfits are like, one more beautiful than the next. And I think you guys got a lot of criticism online. Like I saw a lot of comments online, like, nobody dressed like that in New York and everything. But I think girls in New York in general really care about the way they dress and they look.
Right? Yeah, I mean, maybe not to the degree that they do in LA, but yeah, New York women are maybe a little more understated. And whoever said that is, foolish, and also can't loosen up a bit and enjoy selling Sunset. Sunset as a franchise has become so much about the fashion that I think to go on the show and not bring high fashion and high New York fashion would have been stupid. Maybe a little less colorful than the LA version. LA can be a little more ready to wear, a little more revealing. It's summer here. I focused on trying to be a little more modest and a little more sort of high fashion.
So. Everything, it was yours. All the clothes were yours.
Everything. I didn't borrow anything. Can't speak for the rest of the cast, but for me, everything was mine.
Everything was. We know you spend a fortune on clothes.
Yeah.
Now, before I let you go, somebody listening out there, I know all my girlfriends are going to listen from New York and LA, and a lot of people think it's easy to get into this business, or maybe they want to give it a try and get into real estate and become hopefully as successful as you are. Any tips, any advice?
I have, yeah. Number one, it is easy to get into the business. Getting your license is relatively easy compared to other businesses, right? Don't have to go to medical school for 7 years. Staying in the business is very difficult. So, to try to set yourself up for success from the start, I would say most importantly is know your market, be out on the field every day. You're not going to get anywhere sitting at the office. You need to go to every single open house you can, familiarize yourself. You're walking down the street, take a picture of a sign, Google the building or the house later. And yes, when you're not out on the street, go to the office where there are other successful agents, hear them, listen to them, immerse yourself with what's happening at that office. And so on that notion, immerse yourself in trade magazines, for example, online, read The Real Deal or Curbed or Cranes. You want to know the lingo. You want to know who the power players are. Those are all very important things. And then lastly, I would say, join a team if you can. I think a team is a great way to sort of look at it as an apprenticeship, maybe not a way to make money, but to sort of learn as you go. It's funny. I hate the team because it's I feel like I'm paying you to train you from my perspective. Like, why am I paying someone to also teach them how to do it? They should be paying me, but
Wait,
maybe
so you pay them to be on your team even if they don't sell anything? I thought they
I
were.
pay them I pay them on leads, but they're leads that I could close myself better.
Right.
So I
So
truly
why is
think
it worth it for you to have the team?
it is worth it to have certain people on the team, depending on how you pay them. So if I can pay them less, it's worth it. Now I have people on my team that are far more experienced in the business. And so they can self-generate their own business. At the time that I started the team, half of them didn't have much of their own business, but listing here and there, whatever, but it doesn't pay. But I would say if you can join a team, it's sort of like an apprenticeship, and then, or some sort of platform, like, if you don't have a team that you love, I'm now getting into sort of the coaching space. Everyone after the show asked me if I would do mentorship and this, and I would love to talk to every single person individually, and I couldn't. So now I've come up with a platform where they can. I'm going to start after the 4th of July, where we'll have a weekly call that'll be just like my team meeting at the office, going through tracking my organizational systems, going through leads, tips, techniques, sort of everything that's going on in the market at any given point. So I think you can either do something like that or join a team where you can have that in person, one or the other.
Oh my God, I love that. And patience, right? Because sometimes when you get started, it takes a while to make your first sale. How long did it take?
It takes, my first meaningful sale took about 6 months. I would say before that, I was sort of doing like closing deals for my team leader at $500 a pop. The first time I was able to convert someone and have it be my own buyer, it took about, I want to say 6 to 8 months in. And it takes time. If you really, really believe in it, don't give up. But also if people come to me who say they've been doing it for 2 years and haven't done anything, you have to do a real evaluation about whether or not you are doing everything properly, actually care about the business, and if you're just sort of like chasing big things rather than starting small.
Yeah, are all those girls from the show that were on your team, are they still on your team?
No, none of them are on my team.
Oh, none of them. So you started a brand new team.
No, I always had a team. Sorry, let me clarify. There was always a team that existed outside of what you saw on the show. So there are people that worked for me. There were always 3 people there that you never saw on camera.
They didn't want to be on camera?
They just weren't they weren't both, like Netflix. It's not just, if you look at Selling Sunset, there's 8 people on that show. They have 60 people that aren't on the show, right? So it's not about wanting or not wanting. They're just not part of it. So I have a team that
is gone. Taylor is gone.
Yep. Taylor, Jordan, Giselle, and Abby are all gone.
They didn't look like they were gonna go too far with you. I don't know, just my vibe from watching the show.
Listen, I tried, and I tried probably more than any other boss would ever try in a million years. And at least, I don't know about the rest of them. I know Jordan at least is pretty grateful for the skill set that she picked up and, the time. The rest of them, I wish them luck.
Yeah. Anybody that watches the show is going to see what I saw, that you're like one of the most patient, kind bosses that I've ever seen.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are.
Very
grateful. Congratulations on all your success. And if you come my way to LA, Beverly Hills, let me know. So
I'll be there in July. I'll let you know.
Let me know. I'd love to take you out for a drink and meet you in person.
Sounds good.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you. Of course.
Have a great
Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah.
Safe out there.